Okay, people, I cannot get my stuff working like normal, so we're just gonna do a screen share, and that is going to be all. We're gonna do question 1 through 15. All of these things that I have up on my screen right now are in that classroom folder that I put on the classroom that is actually on my Google Drive, okay? So you have access to all the pictures of the questions, 30 of them total. I've only gotten through 17 of them with answers, but we're gonna do the first 15 in this video anyway, so it doesn't matter. Otherwise, the video is going to be really long, and that's probably why I'm going to move through these things quickly. So if you need to, just pause the video or rewind or whatever you got to do. Otherwise, this video is going to be like an hour, and I don't think anybody wants to watch an hour video. All right. Now, the other thing is there's a Google form on there. Please fill that out with your personal email, not your school email, that you are using and what the password is for you to create an account with Autodesk. Even if you already have an Autodesk with a school email, I need you to make another one with your personal email. I need your login and password for Autodesk and login and password for Certiport. Those are the only two ones that I need, just in case later on down the road you lose access to your school email address and you need to access files or get your badge that you get after you pass the certification. Any of those things, I'll have it for you. That way, we don't lose it. All right. Okay, so let's jump right in here. So looking at this picture here, this is question number 1. Like I said, just make sure that you are, I've said this in class too, make sure that you are on the correct file, adjustable support, okay? You'll notice that if I go into all those files, and they're gonna be on the drive folder, whatever, you guys will see them, adjustable support, object lines. They look exactly the same, but basically they are not, okay? So make sure you're in the correct file. And when you're on the test, there's a little folder icon right here. You will see when you click on that, all the different files. And then the answer format we've talked about. Number, round up if there are too many numbers. Add zeros if there are not enough, okay? So here we go, question number 1. We did this in class with a couple people, but just to make sure that everybody sees it, this is how I would do it. There are so many different ways to do so many different things in this software. I'm just telling you guys off of my experience, what comes to my mind first and what I think works best. If you don't want to watch this video, you can look at the type up stuff, but a couple people asked for just the actual visual to just go through the best way as quick as possible. Okay, here we go. So it says create an arc, arc 1 using center point 2 as the center of the arc. So we got arc 1 here, right? Later on, we're going to want to know what the length of that arc 1 is. But in order to create it, it's giving you a couple different points. It says start at point 3 and draw it to point 4. Use point 2 as the center. So if you're like, oh my God, the arc tool, because we never really use that. You could literally just create a circle right here that goes to this center point, and you could trim, get rid of this. We would actually have to give ourselves like a little spot right there, which is kind of weird, to trim that off at. And then get ready for what I'm going to say 100 times. Select, right click, properties, and you should get length down here, 34.03. That is the answer. Now, how do you use the arc tool? It's arc. What is the start point of the arc is going to be here. You're going to say, hey, I know where the center is, and the center is here at point 2. And then how far do I want to go? To there. And same thing, you would select that, right click, properties, all the way down at the bottom will tell you we're gonna look for a lot of areas too, but this one's gonna be arc length 34.03, okay? All right, moving on. Close, don't save, just in case they want you to go back in there and use that. However, there is one in the future that you do have to save, but I'll tell you which one that is, all right? Question number 2, we're looking at let's see if we can get to the next one, boom, zoom. What file is this? This is the adjustable support file. So, oh, that was the same file. How about that? So down here is a layout, okay? Model, that's where you create stuff. Layout is where you print things when you're trying to print full set plans, okay? So we don't really do that in class. We usually do window prints on the 3D models that we do, or we just, print it and make it as big as possible on a regular letter size piece of paper because that's our printer. However, when you go to make full set plans, you'll use different layouts down here. So if you go back into my ranch plans file in AutoCAD architecture, which, this test is about AutoCAD, but still can reference that, there's a bunch of layouts at the bottom. There's an electrical plan, there's a structural plan. All of those different things can give you different views and different sheets that you will end up printing when you are ready to plot them to large paper size, okay? So, all right, what's the question? It says, on title block A, layout, what is the scale of viewport 1, okay? So this right here is called viewport 1. If you select this, right down here, it'll tell you the scale, 1 to 16. That is your answer. Boom, hit next, ready to go, okay? Number 3, let's see. This one is asking for the adjustable support object lines. So let's close this. Do not save. Adjustable support object lines, okay? So it's saying how many objects are on the object lines layer? Well, that right there tells you that we're looking at layers. That is right here. You can have a drop down of layers, or you can go to the layer properties. That's up to you, whatever way you want to do it. When you drop this down, whatever's highlighted is your current layer. If I draw something right now, I'm going to be drawing on that 0 layer, okay? It wants to know about the object layer. So I'm going to select the object layer, and it wants to know how many objects are on that layer. Why don't we just go ahead and hit the light bulb for all the other ones to turn those layers off? If you remember, AutoCAD architecture, door, separate layer, windows, separate layer, you know, roof, separate layer. Everything has a separate layer. It just makes it so much easier when you have a complex drawing and you need to be able to turn things off, okay? So I'm on the object lines layer right now. I can do this a couple different ways. Select everything, right-click properties, and that'll tell you up here how many things it counts. Altogether, it counts 23, okay? You'll see that that is the answer for number 3. You can also use something called count. And what that'll do, I think you actually have to draw the box after. Oh, get out of my way. And then hit, whoop, whoop, whoop. And then hit, it should be a green check. Hang on, let's back that up for a sec. Boom, go away. Count. Yeah, I should leave that alone. Select this stuff, enter, and then, I don't know why there's not showing a green check. That's strange. Did it already give the answer in the bottom? No, it did not. Huh, interesting. Oh, there it is right there, 23. So when you're doing that, I guess I'm in 2024, so a couple things might be different, but 2023, when I was in school, if I did count and selected everything, there's a green check up here. You hit the green check, and then you can see in the command line here that there was 23 was your answer. How did I see the past stuff? That is F2, okay? So sometimes like you immediately won't see that thing there. You gotta see things that happened before that. All right, F2. Number 4, this one is an easy one. This is in the adjustable support file again. Come on, man, make this easy on us and just do all those in one shot. Adjustable support. All right, this question says, place a linear dimension between multileaders 1 and 2. What is the distance in inches shown in the dimension? This is super easy. If you guys remember how to dimension, it is just the linear dimension, which is dim linear, okay? Maybe I should dock this thing. There we go. You can also pull this up and see a couple things too. Okay, so you could also type dim linear, and we're just gonna go from here to there. It wants to know what that left to right measurement is. It's a horizontal measurement, and your answer is, it is looking for something dot something something something. So we've got around one of these numbers. 9 makes this a 4, 7.664. 7.664, good. All right, we're cruising. Number 5, file, adjustable support. Thank you. Create a multileader that points to the midpoint of the angled edge of the adjustable support. Okay, so we're gonna stay in this file. If you do mleader, that is the command to create a multileader. There are some things in here that don't matter, okay? Don't look at, this is confusing. Why make this different than that one and that one and that one? It's not even what it's asking you, okay? When it talks about style, which is what it's really telling you to do, use style 3, that's talking about like the look of the text of the multileader, okay? So here's how you do this. You're gonna click this midpoint, right? And then you click down where you want the text, you type your text. I would suggest in this situation to type what it is actually saying. By the way, degree sign, if you do it quickly, hold Alt, use the number key on the right side. So Chromebook, no good, but on a desktop in the school, as long as you use those right numbers, hold Alt 0176 and let go. That's how you get the degree sign. Click off. This is super tiny, but basically I'm just gonna select this. I'm gonna right click and go to properties. I'm gonna ditch that. And somewhere in here under text, it will say text style. Change standard to, what did it want? 3? It wanted 3, yes. Now it wants to know, like, which one is that, right? So if I zoom into these, there's really only one that looks exactly like that. This one's close, but the M goes all the way down. It's a stupid question, and I don't even think this one's going to be on the exam, but if it is, there it is. All right. So the answer was number 2. We are on to number 6. Number 6 wants the fitting add fillets file. You guys should know fillets. Super easy to do, but sometimes I still have to tell you guys, don't forget to hit radius, right? So going into open, again, that was the fitting add fillets, okay? And it wants you to add fillets, I believe, on this area over here. Fillet, okay? Don't do fillet edge, that's for 3D modeling. This exam has nothing to do with 3D modeling. But all year you said, yeah, I know, because you wouldn't have cared about the 3D modeling as much, and you wouldn't have cared as much about AutoCAD architecture if I just told you this exam only had 2D drawings, okay? So sorry, but we wanted to cover those things as well, all right? You're gonna hit radius at the bottom, or you can do R enter, and you type your radius. This one's saying 2.5, and this is just click, click, ta-da, okay? Spacebar gets me back into fillet, R enter for radius, 5. And this one is gonna go from there to there. Now, it wants to know how long this line is, but be careful, and I wrote this in here as well. Be careful, because this file is set up a certain way, where if I right click and go to properties, it's telling me the length is 32. However, that's not the answer. Dim linear, if it's saying use a dim linear here, use a dimension to measure that, don't cheat and do the properties like that, do what it's asking. 32.49. 32.49, boom, number 7. Number 7 wants you to be in the fitting file, okay? Go away, close, no. Open, fitting. And it wants you to use the mirror command, I believe. So mirror the geometry of the fitting that is left on the cutting plane line. You're gonna place an align dimension between 1 and 2. So how do we mirror? Select what you want to mirror. Always think about this as like the page in a book, right? So MI enter. What do we want to flip it over? Where is the spine, the center of the book? It is from here to here. Now, do I have to click those exact points? No, I just have to go down on the green line or up on the green line or whatever. It just has to be in a vertical fashion. Click again. Do you want to erase the source objects? No, okay? Now, it wants to do an aligned dimension. Dim align is your command. It's actually dim aligned, but you can type dim aligned. Or if you go back here, you will see aligned, and it will show you a little picture of what it does. It's just an angled line. So no matter what the angle of the line is, okay, even if it's something weird like that, it will match that angle and measure the distance, right? So in this case, it wants us to go from that corner to that corner, and we're getting 251.23. The format down here is perfectly good for that, 251.23, right? On to number 8. Close file. Go away. All right. Fitting file again. Damn. Okay, in the fitting file, modify the section AA text style. Again, text style just means text. Forget all this other stuff. It doesn't matter. Select the text, right? You want to change the text style to style B. We don't do this because we just make it the way we want it to look. We can create these different style looks, but when you're making plans and stuff, like nobody cares if this looks that way or that way. It doesn't matter as long as it's legible. So change it to style B, and then it's gonna ask you, okay, what is the text height in inches? If I were to select this, right click properties, which is already open, you will see under text, the height is 30. And that should be the answer for number 8. Boom, moving on. Number 9, fitting area. Close. I should just dock that, but I'm not a docker. Maybe I'll show you how to do that real quick because I don't think I've ever said that, but it is pretty easy. You just drag it off to the left side. Open, we want to be in the fitting area file. So, all right, if I do properties, if I select something and do properties, I can just go like that and it will stay there. I can also hit this, which means if I hover over it, it pops out. So that is kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Whatever, all right? It wants to know the area of this section, but it wants you to draw 2 circles first. So it talks about doing an array. An array is pointless. What the heck do we need these other 2 circles for? We do not. So go to the circle. How do I get this midpoint? Hover over this arc here, okay? And it wants it to be diameter. So D, enter, because remember, when you go in a circle, it's radius by default, unless you go back here and you do diameter. Hover, center point, and it wants that to be 10. Boom. Why would I array this when I could just copy it? Some of these questions are silly. And paste it here, okay? Now, as far as the area goes, a couple different ways to do this, but I'm gonna go with the one that probably makes the most sense. If you do hatch, actually, does it even say to do that? No. Yeah, square area. If you do hatch and you click in here and hit enter, I can then just select that hatch, go to properties again, and it should tell me area 1584, 1584 done. What was the other way? I think it was called measure geom or something, which I don't really use. But if you put it in this area, yeah, see, yeah, okay. Oops, there you go. Area 1584. Good tool to know, like it'll work for different things, but hatch pattern is easy too because we know how to use it, all right? All right, moving on to the next one. We are on number 9. All right, so number 9, what's it asking here and what file? Fitting area. Oh, we just did number 9, sorry. Number 10 wants you to be in the hatch area 1. So fitting hatch area 1. If your computer can handle it when you're doing this, which I don't think ours can, you could just leave all the files open. They are all 2D files, so maybe it'll be okay. I'm not sure, but I just like to close things. I don't like having a million different things open. So we're going to fitting hatch area 1. Hatch area 1. It wants you to create a hatch. But again, like this other stuff is just silly. It's trying to slow you down. Pattern, ANSI 31. Why does that matter if it's on that? It's on that by default anyways. Scale 50 has nothing to do with what they're asking. And then it says angle. That also has nothing to do with it. What is the combined square inch area of the hatch? So when I do this, I'm just going to click in the areas that they want me to click in that picture and hit enter. As long as I do them all within the same command, when I hit enter, they are connected. Just like when we did the Pac-Man drawing and we clicked all those different boxes and they were all the same. Makes it easier, especially on like an AutoCAD architecture when you want to do the siding and there's a couple different points that you have to click for the siding. You only have to match properties one of the siding areas and it'll do the whole thing. So it's a good habit to get into unless it needs to be a different hatch. Then you would do another hatch somewhere else, all right? So again, we select this, we go over here to properties. The area is 6910, 6910. Moving on. Next one is sunset key floor plan copy. Sunset key floor plan copy, okay? Zooming in. This one says zoom in on the bedroom area. Now, this one says zoom into the bedroom area, but also you could, in future drawings, it's gonna say, access the bedroom view, okay? If it says anything about view, that means that it's already a view that's set up in here, and you could go to like bedroom. And what it does is it zoom, that's obviously not correct, but the next file will work, and I'll show you that when we get to that point. So anyways, that's how you access different views that are saved. Why does this help? Because in different files, or I'm sorry, in complex files, when you have a bathroom that you're working on the second floor, and you have a bathroom that you're working on the first floor, and you're trying to, measure or like copy over some of the blocks or whatever you're trying to do, it helps if you, instead of like trying to find that bathroom, right? I'm talking about a big file. And then you go over there and you try to find the other one, you're going back and forth, you can create a view. So if I went new view and I said, right? I could do define window and I can say that, right? And then I can just hit enter and hit okay. And now that whatever view I just created that's called something weird would just zoom me in right on that. All right, very easy and something probably important to know, especially the way that they word these questions, okay? All right, so what is this question? Copy the dresser and place it 54 inches to the left. So it's saying this is the dresser, right? Am I lying? No, yeah, right there. Copy, you could move anywhere. When you're just moving laterally or up and down or whatever on the green line, you just have to grab anywhere, 54, enter, and you're like that. Now, this question is dumb because it says, what is the distance in inches between the door and the edge of the dresser? Well, you've got 3 different things here, okay? And it's not asking, it's not telling you, like, for instance, this could be an aligned dimension and you get that number. Or it could be a linear dimension and you're getting that number. But really, it wants that number. It's a horizontal measurement from there to there. Stupid because it doesn't clarify which one it should actually be. However, answer 15.5, and that is the correct format. So the answer is 15.5, all right? Moving on to number 12. I hope this is still recording. I've shot so many videos where I look back and it's not working. Let's just look back real quick. Good. Ooh, we're up to 20 minutes already. Okay. Number 12. So we are onto this one. This file is called the Key Floor Plan Concrete Pad. This should be an easy one. Concrete pad. Concrete pad, okay? It just wants you to draw this rectangle basically, right? And you're gonna use lines. So the whole thing literally doesn't matter. It wouldn't even have to be there, you know? Like if I move this completely out of the way or even deleted it and draw a line from these different points, the start point is 38.25. That is an absolute coordinate. So you just type it, just like your math class, 38.25, enter, right? That's your start point. Then it wants you to go the next point and you just, you know, so it was 38.25, enter, 38, negative 30, enter, 168, negative 30, enter, 168, negative 30, enter. Did I do that one twice? Yeah, I did. Oops. And the, oh, that was supposed to be 168, 25, sorry. And then it just basically has you close it, okay? So now, this is easy again. If I take this and just join it, or if I would have initially used a polyline and closed it, you'll get one shape, right? And that shape in properties will tell you what the, what's it asking for? The perimeter, that's gonna be length, okay? Perimeter and length, same thing, 370. The answer is 370, good to go. On to number 13. 13, the file is Sunset Key Floor Plan. Open, Sunset Key Floor Plan, that one. All right, so activate the office view. Here you go. View. Okay. Office. All right, zooms you right into the thing that it's talking about. Add the filing cabinet block to the office by placing it 15 units above midpoint 1. This is one of those things when you're trying to put down a block, which we'll get into in a second, you need to find the position of where that block's going to go first. Okay, so it wants me to, let's bring that up. It wants me to go off of this line, 15 up, okay? So from there, we'll go 15, enter. Then you'll go to insert, and you have all these blocks that are saved in this file. Blocks are great, you know, like let's say you draw a sink, you draw a couch, you draw a toilet, whatever it is, you can create a block out of it. And, you know, by hitting like create or whatever, and I'm not gonna go through that, but you create your own block, you will have that block anywhere you want by just going up here and inserting it rather than copying and pasting or going between files. It saves it forever and ever and ever, okay? So you're gonna scroll in here until you find the filing cabinet, which is right there. I'm gonna click it once. Notice how it's got me grabbed at the middle. That's why I needed this point. Otherwise, where was I gonna put it down, right? Boom. You can delete the line if you want, if you're OCD like me. It now wants to know, what is the distance between point 2 and 3? A little blurry here, but it is talking about the outside of this filing cabinet handle. Dim linear. There to there. 41.01. The format is 2. Ooh, don't get mixed up. 41, right? Okay, number 15, we are in Sunset Key Floor Plan, okay? I'm already in that file from the last thing I just did. This was the one where we had to keep the things that we already created because of what it's going to ask, okay? So you'll notice that if I click on this table or these chairs, it is one full block, okay? Everything is together. So it wants you to explode all of the objects. If I were to not have this filing cabinet that we just did, this one doesn't matter, but if I didn't have that, you would get the wrong answer. Dumb question, because why wouldn't it say, hey, you need to have those things? However, if you're clever, you can look in here and see that it still has the dresser and it still has the filing cabinet, all right? So how many objects are a spline? Well, when you explode things one time, it's going to take the chairs off of the table, but there's still one piece. So you need to explode twice. The best way to do this, right click. Sorry, whoop, whoop, whoop. What's happening? Right click, go to quick select, and you're gonna go entire drawing, object type spline, because it wants to know how many splines. And by the way, a spline is something that has circles, which is not the same as your geometric lines and rectangles and whatever, squares and circles, okay? This is more of a curve. We don't really use splines. We did maybe sometimes in some of your 3D projects last year, but not so much, all right? So this is what a spline looks like. When I zoom out here and I do a right click and I go quick select, I can say, I wanna look for splines and I want to select all of them and hit OK. I now have them all selected. I go here and I got 30. 30 should be your answer. Boom, done. All right, so guys, that was 1 through 15. I apologize for the long video. I tried to go as fast as possible. I didn't even make any jokes, all right? So hopefully this helped you guys. Tomorrow, I hope to shoot the next 16 through 30. I only have a couple of them done right now, though, so in school tomorrow, I'll try to look at those, all right? Thank you for watching, and hopefully you guys are going to get something out of this and do well in the exam, all right? I'll see you in class. Later.